Hello, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. I am Tom Goodwin. This is Michelle Ronquillo.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
And today we're dealing with the subject of Harvey, Hurricane Harvey in Houston, that we are actually live in arrogance and humility. So it's Harvey, arrogance, and humility. And that's what we're dealing with. And we've been dealing with it directly. We're directly involved. We live in Houston. We came within inches of being flooded.
Yeah.
And we were up. I was up all night focusing on it, really hoping and praying and everything else that it wouldn't go to a few inches.
Yeah.
And because it was a flash flood and it was moving, it required a certain amount of heavy rain to make it happen. And the heavy rain just didn't get heavy enough to make it go up any higher, meaning it wasn't a case of, it was just a case it was moving on to a flat flood, so it's something different, but we did get 20 inches overnight.
Yeah, and the surrounding areas are still underwater. There's places that still need evacuations with people to safety, shelters. There's over 17,000 people without homes. It's devastating over here. The thing is that we're watching is the politics and the outside people making it into something of a circus act when it really is about the devastation of how the people, as humans, going through catastrophic events. The ones inside, in here, we were out there with the boats and making sure people were safe, going to the hit areas that were not mentioned in the media, and the homeless and the elderly getting rescued. It was the
local people.
Local people, yes. The community of Houston, the communities of these devastated places that were actually the heroes, that were actually going in and doing the work and the rescue of these people.
And one of the things is I've lived on the survival level all my life. So I know how to handle survival. I know how to deal with survival. And one of the things that when you live on the survival level, all that counts with you is that you survive, that you have your life and you have your basic needs met. All the possessions and everything else comes secondary to your survival. And that's the attitude you have to have in a crisis like this.
Yes, and we live this daily. We understand the spiritual crisis energy daily. So as we are witnessing around us, we see the people with the arrogance now becoming humble. They're now becoming grateful for the things that they have. That humbleness kind of melted away with the hurricane.
And that's what the people that are outside of here have to understand.
Yes.
That they need to become humble and understand that the same thing could happen to them. In other words, the arrogance goes away when people face a crisis, but the people that aren't facing the crisis maintain sort of this arrogance that's part of them that is not in tune with reality well enough, with the crises that are happening in this world. Harvey, one crisis, and you can say the greenhouse effect of global warming had something to do with that because the ocean was a good 2 degrees warmer than it normally is. So it's a contributing factor, meaning hurricanes like that would happen anyway, but they wouldn't happen as often.
Right, and as record-breaking.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of moisture that could absorb, and more of that's going to happen. And so we're going to have these crises that are going to happen. And, I mean, I did my meditative walk and all my training through this crisis so that I really tuned into it.
Out there.
I didn't stop because, you see, my main purpose is to bring my training techniques to this world. And my training techniques, I had to work them, no matter what was happening, the way I looked at it.
I think that a good point is another great point in humility is feeling the humbleness and the gratefulness of what you have. And sometimes in a crisis situation, people remember that, they hone into it, and then life gets back to normal. Things go back the way they are, and then the arrogance and the remembering of that crisis moment goes away, and they take for granted once again the things that was ripped away from them in a catastrophic or trauma event. So that perception needs to stay. That perception needs to grow around us as well, in that empathy for what is going on in Houston and the surrounding areas. People need to hold on to that humility, to that humbleness, to that gratefulness, to that spiritual connection that's going to make a difference in this world.
And there's a lot of people that don't know how good they, actually how bad they have it, in a sense, how good they have it, because having all these possessions and owning all this stuff is really what's causing the problem in this country. All this greed is making us insensitive and arrogant in this world, and we have to get used to the fact that we don't really need all this stuff, that we really that what counts is our life, and that we're healthy. And a lot of people don't eat healthy. They don't take care of themselves. They don't focus on what's really important, which is the spiritual, being healthy,
yes,
and being able to be the most effective as a human being.
And being positive through the negative, because dwelling and having negative thoughts coming in of stress, of worry, is that fight or flight, and it's going to destroy you. The spiritual health is in the positive. The spiritual health is keeping positive results out of what you're going through. The spiritual is standing in a place of strength and knowing whatever comes in, you'll be able to face it and deal with it with a calm and rational thought process, because when it matters in chaos, it's where the calm is.
And what we need is for local people to be involved and be in charge of the
yes,
relief effort of
yes,
Harvey.
Yes.
Because the problem is these outsiders come in and they have sort of like, we know better than you,
yeah,
and all that kind of attitude, and then they have to pay all their workers and all these people. And the thing is, we have people on the ground right now that are local people that will volunteer.
They need the money. They need the money to do the rebuilding of Houston, because their houses just got wrecked too. So let's put it back into Houston. Let's put it in the surrounding areas where it really matters, by hiring the local people that need the money. That these companies can't come in, swoop up the money for the rebuilding, and then not give it to the people that really need it. We are self-sufficient.
And so often in this country, when crises happen, people with money and resources take advantage of the situation, and the wrong people get the money, and that happens over and over again.
We're seeing it happening now. We're seeing it happening right now, from us sitting from the inside. No grocery stores are open. There's people that just barely getting their electricity. There's places in Rockport that they barely got the HEB grocery store chain to go and feed them. The grocery stores aren't open. They're just going over there and feeding people right now. So there is serious things going on, and the outside world needs to understand that we are sufficient. We can stand on our own and help ourselves and help our people and help our community.
We need new energy. We need, in other words, the established way things are done needs to change, and we need to be open to the type of spirituality that innovative people like me that are differently able, so that they're able to see things differently and develop things that nobody else can develop, because they have a unique perspective, and also because they're struggling for survival and they have to develop what they have to the max.
That's right.
Just to survive.
That's right. And then it builds people's character. It builds their strength. We are definitely not victims of anything spiritual here in Texas, because we are so strong. The community of everybody reaching out and holding people's hand into this crisis is our strength, and the outside world is helping us. However, we need the spiritual strength of support.
And reality will humble you. When we're talking about arrogance and humility, reality does humble you. Anybody that's really connected with reality is going to have a humble attitude. They're going to see how little they need to survive and how much they need to grow and develop further in order to handle the situations in the world. In other words, don't think you have it all together. I mean, Houston was not prepared well enough because of arrogance. That they didn't see reality for what it is. They didn't understand that we could have disasters like this, so they didn't get ready for it. Because it would cost them money and resources, and because, of course, the arrogance, it won't happen, it won't happen. Well, reality happens, and this is reality.
Yes, and we have Dawn watching, and she says that she thinks focusing on helping others, whether we are rich or struggling ourselves, in all circumstances, keeps us humble and grateful. Great point. That is so true. I think that as you get money, as you get to that financial stability in your life, you forget where you come from. You forget the humble gratefulness of what it took to get there. And yes, everybody needs to work for themselves and get to a level of stability with all their wants and needs into the point of you're not gorging, you're not taking advantage of. But you have to remember what it took to get to that status of rich. And if you're born into it and you don't understand what hard work is, then you need to research that and look around and be humble and have the empathy in yourself to see that humble and grateful makes compassion.
And one of the things with me, I'm a Stoic, and I think when you really get spiritual, you understand that what counts the most is your physical and spiritual health.
Yes.
And they go together, because you can't handle the stress of the spiritual unless your body is healthy enough to handle it.
That's right. There's a lot of people that went through this catastrophic event and they had health problems because they stressed out so much. Their body was not ready to handle such a catastrophic. People were in waist-deep waters in their house. And so the sick and the body literally caught up with some people.
And there's a lot of trauma that's happening. And you see, what my training is geared to, not to take, I'm not taking advantage of the situation. I'm just doing what I always do, no matter where I am. And that is, I'm trying to help people to better handle trauma. And part of handling trauma is being in the physical condition that you can handle it. If you don't get healthy enough, you're never going to get the ability to heal your trauma, because healing requires you being healthier.
Yeah, and it's just like if you exercise for your physical health, your body, you're doing crunches, you're trying to tone up. You got to do that spiritually. And the traumas of your past are going to catch up with you if you don't face them and look and heal them.
And you have to handle the stress related to the trauma to heal the trauma, and that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Developing the physical, spiritual connection so you can handle that stress.
Yes, the training, the breathing, the meditation, all that is vital key to your spiritual health.
Not that I want these traumas to happen, because actually, if the people in Houston, had the ability to handle the stress and had a connection with reality, they would be solving the problem, and they would be able to absorb the fact that the financial hit that would be involved. In other words, they're willing to pay the price now so that the price wouldn't be paid later. And hopefully the federal government would be involved in it too, and understand that they're the ones that's going to pay eventually. So they better, give some extra support to these cities that need help ahead of time, provided they do the right things and they're not wasting the money.
But one thing that I do see all around me is that your strength lies sleeping until something catastrophic comes up. It wakes it up, and your strength starts going into full gear. Now, whether you go into fight or flight gear of survival or thriving, that's up to you. And that's up to the training you do as well. Because there's a lot of people out there thriving. They went through it, but they went right back out. And they're out there rescuing people and giving people food and opening their doors and letting people stay with them and taking showers. I have wonderful, wonderful family tribe friends out there, Texas City, League City. They're out there doing what they can to help the community in actions, in examples, because why? They're spiritually strong. They're spiritually thriving, because Tom in his exercise techniques, the meditations and the trainings go so much. It goes so far into spiritual health, and it's very important that you reach for that spiritual.
And you have to have spiritual theories that connect you with reality.
Yes.
Because that's what is required in a crisis situation, that you are all function, you're all trying to do the best, that you don't have anything inside of you that is disconnecting you and making you arrogant. Because when you get humility, then you see that what counts the most is the reality that's happening now and handle it.
And then it goes into the humility of people fundraising. We're starting a donation, positivevibesenterprise.org is our website, which all you guys know because you're watching us now. However, positivevibenterprise@gmail.com, we are taking in donations through PayPal and 100% of all the donations will go to the hurricane efforts to help our communities, the local little guys of Galveston County. Please research. If you're going to donate money for this devastation, please research and see how much of that money is going towards the people, going towards the cause. Don't put money in people's pockets to take advantage of things that are going on here.
And we're not conning you, because we really don't want to end up in prison, and we're being so outward in how we're representing ourselves that there's no way we could get away with it.
Well, not only that, we have people on the front line that is literally ready to receive any donations. We have churches ready to receive some donations. So we're hearing back on them of the address and when. We'll be able to link the comments. In the comments, the addresses that you can see. We need food. We need clothing, blankets. There's a lot of Red Cross does not cover diapers. They do not cover any infant stuff. So there's organizations that are donating, but they're not covering all the needs of the people. So please research and find out exactly how you can go about getting the right charity to get those donations to the people of Harvey.
And we have been involved in this for a few years, so it's not like we have just shown up on the scene and we're trying to get, make money.
Actually, September 23rd, we're doing a food drive with 7 foundations: Star of Hope, the Vet Amputee, American Legion, the Crisis Center in Galveston, United Way on both island and the mainland. And what we are doing is collecting non-perishable food items. And now we're moving a new donation drive for Houston and Texas City, Galveston areas on September 16th as well, where we're collecting donations for everybody that was hit. So yes, like Tom said, we have been doing this for years, and we're not going to stop. It's just going to continue, and it's just going to multiply, because the voice of what we're trying to get, as well as the donations, is important. The voice of spiritual health. The voice of how people need to get involved with their spiritual health. Get involved with Tom's meditation programs. Get in touch with Tom's spiritual training. So when crisis happens, you're calm and collective, and you got the reality-based senses to know what to do and how to handle what you're doing.
Yes. Yes, I mean, we're really passionate about what we're doing, and passion is what drives the spiritual. That's what makes things happen. And, I mean, I feel what's happening around here. I did my meditative walks probably around 5 miles every day during the storm.
Yes,
and I had to walk in flip-flops and rain pants, and I had to wade through the water and everything. But I wasn't going to stop my meditative walking, because that's what my training, and also because by doing that, I would get to talk with people and connect with the energy around me.
Yes.
And that made a big difference because I found out a lot. I connected. I mean,
connection is the key. Connection, empathy, compassion.
So in other words, I was out in it.
Humbleness.
I was out in the storm after the worst of it had gone. I mean, worst of it meaning the 20 inches in one night. I wasn't out then, but I was out during most of the other.
Yeah, he would have had to been swimming. Our front lawn was a definite river.
No, I did a run. And I know I did a walk, and I had to only do halfway, and I couldn't do the run that one time. I had to do my dumbbell swings on a day that I would have scheduled to run because I wasn't going to do any swimming.
Yeah, no swimming.
So I do adjust my schedule, but I still got my meditative walks in even on every day. Because the flooding happened that night, and it went down quickly because of flash flooding. So I could wade the first walk. I might have had to wade through it, but after that, it became easier and easier.
I think another a good point is that not to be in denial with what's going on. I think that when people push back how they feel, and they try to make it like it's so positive. They forget that they need to plug in. That's how you get the humbleness. That's how you get the gratefulness, is you plug in reality. And if reality sucks and it's around you and it's chaos and there's, lines to get in the grocery store and, no shelters are turning you away and you're cold and you're wet and you don't know what to do, those moments right there in chaos can give you strength when you're not denying what you're doing, but you're surviving in a thriving way, in a positive way.
And there are people in hospitals. There are people hungry in other parts of the world. Do you think you're suffering? There are people that are daily suffering.
There's people that do this every day.
In other words, they have less than we have. I mean, you talk about surviving with your life. That's what a lot of people in this world are doing.
Yes.
They're just surviving with their life.
Surviving with the life, yeah. And it's important that people understand that once you go through this, once you go through the chaos, once you go through the trauma, it's all about embracing what it's doing inside of you and build strength and build confidence and build security to know that you have hands and feet, you have arms, and you have a thought process to make an example for others. That's so important. And this one is doing it every day. Tom is out there doing it every day. He's being the example. He's showing us how to handle our spiritual strength in the chaotic moment of what we're living right now.
And this really needs to be a wake-up call.
It really does.
It shouldn't be just a wake-up call for Houston.
No.
Houston's going to face this trauma for decades. This has been a disaster like we've never had. We have never had one before. And as they said in the news media, they couldn't have imagined, they couldn't have created, thought up a scenario like this. But reality, a lot of times,
it is what it is.
It's stranger than anything you can create in fiction. Meaning it's just, and this is reality. And what it's saying is, you don't know what the future is going to bring, because, I mean, we live in an age in which the crises are going to be bigger than you have ever imagined.
And you know what? The strength and the thought process of getting through and evolving and being the example and showing the world that this doesn't crumble us. This makes us stronger as a community.
And we can solve the problem so these things don't happen. But we got to start working on solving the problem so that we can handle the crisis.
No more fluffing. No more fluff up. No denial. No more pushing away.
Stop being drugged on all this stuff.
What all that is all about.
You know, drugged on all this, all of the food industry is affecting people and drugging them out with all kinds of additives and all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that
research and see what you're eating. Research and start exercising.
Try to eat healthy and get off these drugs that disconnect you from reality, and get spiritual theories to connect you with reality, not ones that disconnect you.
Heal yourself. Spiritually heal yourself inside. Don't let people around you take advantage of you. Don't invite people that are not, they're toxic. Get healthy people around you. Get strong people around you. Get support around you. And then get strong within yourself. Heal your mind, body, and spirit by doing the actions you take.
We can develop so much further spiritually. I mean, science and technology have gotten ahead of us when it comes to our spiritual development. And we have to catch up. And we cannot be in the dark ages any longer spiritually, because the technology we have now creates problems we've never had before. And we need to have the ability spiritually to cope with it. And we can make a big leap spiritually, because we haven't made the effort to do it for so long, that just making the effort will... And we know we're motivated to make the effort, because these crises are going to keep happening. Exactly. And they're supposed to be the motivation. They happen for a reason. Everything in this universe happens for a reason.
Yeah, it's not poor me. Why is this happening to me? Poor, poor, poor. No. It happens to strengthen you. It happens to evolve you. It happens to make voices so people can be the example we want to see in this world. We need the strength. The ones that are spiritually strong are the ones that are out there in the boats. They're the ones that risk their lives. They're the ones that are taking people off roofs. They're the ones that are tired and they're taking a breath and a break, but they're still going out there. Why? Because they're spiritually strong. They're overflowing.
They're really connected
with reality and what it means to really put in positive hope into people, positive reassurance into people, positive self-empowerment. That's what it's all about. It's about the self-empowerment we need to grab from the inside and then show the world, you know what, we have this much self-empowerment. We can voice out what we need. We can voice out and heal our communities. We are the ones that are doing the actions already since it started. We were the ones in the front lines here helping the people, the self-empowerment of the fact that their strength was lying sleeping until Hurricane Harvey came around and woke a lot of people up spiritually. And they kicked into gear. And they showed that they were heroes. And it's amazing. It's all over the place. And you know what that gives me? That humble gratitude. I'm so thankful that there's people around me that woke up and have the spiritual strength, like Tom and me, to get out there and make a difference. Get out there and make a voice.
And one of the things with humility is to understand that when these people are trying to help you, the rescue people are out there trying to help you, that if they can't come to help you, there are reasons they're not coming to help you. There are so many people with serious problems.
So many people.
You have to have the humility to understand.
And the gratefulness that you'll get off that roof.
Yeah, but you have to understand that they have to take the #1 priority first. So you have to be humble enough to understand that you're...
Thank God you're not in the position.
In other words, that you're not as high a priority as you think you are sometimes. That there are higher priorities, that there are people more desperate than you that need help.
Yes.
And when you have a crisis, when you have a crisis like that, there's no choice. They have to go for the more desperate people.
Yes.
And just because you have a little water on your floor, they can't go for you because there are people on rooftop that they have to rescue. And that's where you have to be humble enough, and you can't have that attitude where you're complaining that they're not helping you when they're doing the best they can and they're helping the people that need it the most.
Now, I will say this, though. The media has been blasting on Houston. The surrounding areas need to get blasted. Rockport, that guy hit by the eye, just barely got HEB over there sending them, food and feeding them. The surrounding areas, that's the main thing that's getting ignored, that I want to really blast out, is to make sure that, Houston's a big area. Don't get me wrong. Houston's a big area, but the surrounding areas got it hard. The surrounding areas have the locals right now rescuing them. The surrounding locals are the heroes of the little guys. And, it's important to spread that, yes, there is works going on all around Houston areas. However, let's just keep the balance that everybody, including Houston, including Galveston County, we all are in this together. We all need the support. We all need unity of not ignoring those little rural areas that can get forgotten. That was seen in Katrina, and it was so sad. And we need to learn from our mistakes.
And we have one of our leaders in our group in Positive Vibes Enterprise. One of our very important people in Positive Vibes Enterprise went through Katrina.
Yes.
So it's not like we don't have a little experience within our organization.
Yeah.
And so
we have the people that are in our organization has literally lived through Katrina, through Ike, through some major hurricanes, and they've never experienced the devastation that this has caused. But also, I do want to mention that in humility and in looking at arrogance, we can't wipe out the past just because it was messed up. Yes, we've had some really messed up things that happen. We've had some people die over arrogance. We've had some statues put on there that people were not good people. But you know what? We learn from the mistakes. We don't try to get rid of it, destroy it, wash it under the rug. It's okay to have flaws, because in the flaws, you show how to be strong. You show the future generations what not to do. You show them in the examples by what we learn in contrast, and then gather together as a voice.
But we need to educate people to know that our founding fathers a lot of the time did not have the best attitude towards African Americans. I mean,
there was bad arrogance. There was mean.
In other words, if you study them, you're going to find that their attitude was not good at all. If they were in today, they would be considered very racist if they were around today. And that's why our country started with slavery. It's because it was accepted to too much of a degree at that time.
But if you look at it, when you look at the spiritual side of it, the things that we've gone through has made us the people that we are today. If Tom hadn't gone through the things that he went, and the trauma things that he went, he wouldn't be the strong leader that he is today. If I hadn't gone through the trauma and the things that I went through in my life, I wouldn't be able to voice out how I feel about the traumas and the things that other people go through.
And the thing is, we have worked to heal the trauma. We're not in denial.
We are healthy.
In other words, a lot of people get trauma and it distorts them.
Because they push it under. They deny. They do what society's doing. We don't want to talk about the negative. Let's just work on the positive.
And when you've tasted reality in an extremely heavy dose, then you understand what really counts, as I say. And all this money and all this luxury is like a drug.
That's
it tunes you out spiritually. And the last thing I want to do is be tuned out spiritually in a world like this.
There's no way I want to be tuned out spiritually. I need to be connected. I need to heal. I need to heal from the traumas that I've been through, and I need to see the contrast of what it means to verse positive versus negative, arrogance versus humility. Because humility, being humble and grateful for what you've had, what you've been through, not dwelling, oh, poor me, I'm so crumbled. No, I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm braver. I'm more voiceful. I've always been voiceful, but I'm more voiceful. And I have a determination, passion. That's what it creates. It's called empathy, compassion for what you've been through. And then voicing others that they can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. If Tom can do it, you can do it.
I may be differently able, but what I've developed, because I'm a hard person to get things to work for, I developed stuff that can work for practically everybody.
That's right.
And that's what it was all about. I've never been about me. I've always had an attitude of wanting to do something to change the environment, the spiritual environment in this world.
That's right.
And the motivated people are the people that are motivated by stuff outside of themselves.
Yes,
you only can get so much motivation from yourself alone, even though at the same time you do have to put the energy into yourself.
I do want to say that. That's a good point, Tom. I'm glad you said that. You have to put the energies into yourself.
Oh, you can't help anybody.
You have to be healthy.
Yeah.
You can't be toxic and then go help people. That doesn't work like that. You have to be healthy yourself. before you can help
you're
others.
motivated to help, to do something for people. You know, you're motivated beyond yourself to do as much as you can within yourself to get the most out of yourself.
You have to overflow
so that you can help a cause bigger than yourself.
Yeah, you have
so
to be
it's a
healthy.
combination. It's a balance between you got to have outer motivation to motivate you more inwardly.
Right.
That say that this world around me needs a lot of help, and I'm going to have to do a lot more myself because the needs out there are so great.
Yeah, so you have to look at the trauma and you have to face yourself. And like catastrophes happen and wake up people. They wake up their strength and they're like, wait, what's going on? My strength is here. But the spiritual needs to be there as well, because if you can't handle what's going on the outside because your inside is weak and out of shape, then you need to start looking of how to get that in shape, how to get that spiritual empowerment. It's self-empowerment, that you can do it. Self-esteem is knowing you can do it. That's all the definition is. So just knowing you can do it, you have self-esteem. It's boom, it's there.
And that's not arrogance. That's just reality. You know,
Yes.
you represent yourself for what you are. You're humble to know that you can only do so much.
Yes.
You're only one person. You have limited capabilities. You make the most of it. You represent what abilities you have as clearly as you can, so that it can be the most. You can do the most with your abilities. You have to first represent them before you can.
That's right.
Before you can get other people to understand and utilize you.
Yeah, that's right. And you also look at the consequences of what you're walking as well. Because some people, when they first get spiritually enlightened, they get this arrogance. And you need to let that go. You need to get past that. And when you get past the arrogance of, this is so great, I know this, I'm going to shove it down people's throats.
But the spiritual is always a puzzle.
You're
never going to get perfect up spiritually from any source. I know, because I've created new stuff spiritually, and it's been trial and error, and any inspiration just gets me to the next point. And it's not perfect. You have to get more inspiration to go further. It's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be what you need at the time, and that's all you can get.
And I think that working the theories that work good for you is also a way to get rid of the arrogance. You get really humble, because you do by example. If you want to push and be the evolvement of others around you, you first got to do it for yourself. You do the examples yourself. You experience and
you got to
do the theories yourself.
You got to always be improving yourself.
Yes.
No matter what.
Focus.
No matter how well you feel you've developed spiritually, you can always develop further. You have to understand it. You have to constantly do it, because your attitudes are contagious.
Yes.
And you want to have an attitude that is constantly into improving, so that you'll get other people to do the same thing. As soon as you stop improving, you go in a bad direction really fast.
Really
as soon
fast.
as you stop doing that.
It's a slow, my favorite band's 311, and one of their verses is a slow ride up and a quick ride down. So it is so true.
I mean, you can lose it just like that. That's why you have to be humble. You have to understand.
Have to be humble.
But by the grace of God go I. So is the saying a lot of people say.
Yeah.
And that applies with Houston too, right now.
And we give all our thoughts and prayers out to the people that continue working hard. May the strengths and the courages of all the Houston areas be empowered, self-empowered to not only survive, but be the example for the world that that positive is in us. And we will show it together in unity as this catastrophic event rebuilds, as we rebuild from this catastrophic event.
Okay, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. We appreciate you watching our video.
Please share.
Please share. Make this go viral. We still haven't got much viewership, but that's because we're new and it's hard to get new stuff out.
And please remember, research those donations. We got donations going on. We'll leave an address as soon as we get it on this video, so you can send in your donations. positivvibesenterprise@gmail.com. Through PayPal, you can send money donations. 100% of everything that comes in will go to the people, the local people here. And
we'll put it in the comment section under the video.
Yes, as soon as
we'll pin it there.
We're working on an address as we speak. Thank you. Share, voice your opinions. Voice your opinions to the world. Voice your opinions to your family.
And don't let the current people that sort of like are controlling the mindset of the public spiritually, don't let them stop you from going our direction and giving more power to a different mindset, a mindset this world hasn't seen before.
The spiritual strength that is needed today, right now, in this catastrophe of Harvey, and understanding humility is better than arrogance. Please share. Please spread the word. Please subscribe. And me and Tom will see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
We appreciate you so much.
We do. We really appreciate you. Thanks all.